Welcome to The Silver Lining with your host, Randy Silver. We drop daily episodes for you on the biggest sports stories, and today we're going to dive into Team USA's FIBA men's roster. In addition, we look at the international history of the US men's team, the tune-up game schedule, and look at the analysis, cool photos, and box score of last night's game against Puerto Rico. So if you want to stay updated on USA FIBA the next 6 weeks, subscribe here. Any sports, we're here for you. Let's dive into it for you and not waste any time. So here's our USA FIBA World Cup roster, and let's move forward and give you some stats. 9 athletes on the team have played on USA basketball before. The only 3 who haven't are Hart, Johnson, and Reeves. This means that they played in the youth system against international level, or they played on the select team where they played against the senior team as practice, and they got to get in the system and understand what it's like. There's 2 number 1 overall picks in the draft with Edwards and Branchero. We have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Jackson Jr. And 4 are current or former All-Stars in Edwards, Halliburton, Ingram, and Jackson Jr. This team, there's some feedback on, is there enough experience here? Is there enough versatility? Overall, I think this is a pretty good team. Let's dive into it really quickly, and let me change my screen for you. There's a lot of good size on this team, which is nice. They're young and hungry, meaning they're taking 6 weeks out of their summer where they could be away with their family, and they want to be here. Reports coming out of camp, or they're really tight. They're all sitting at the same table. They love playing with each other. You saw it in the game against Puerto Rico yesterday, which we'll dive into. And they're having a lot of fun, which is most important. You want to see that chemistry built because they haven't played together before. And this is where the coaching staff will be vital. Head coach is Steve Kerr. Assistant coach Eric Spoelstra, Tyronn Lue, and college coach Mark Fry of Gonzaga. Spoelstra is with the Heat, and Lue is with the Clippers. So this is really important that we have a lot of seasoned coaches here who are used to coaching high-level NBA athletes, high-level college athletes, and they can mold this team to be the team that you want them to be successful. So when they start playing international real games in 3 weeks, they're ready to go. So let's continue forward. One thing I think is interesting, Kerr is the head coach, obviously coach of the Warriors. He wants Branchero to play the role of Draymond he does in the Warriors system, where he can play a 4 or 5, and this will make the team more versatile when they're going against big men, say Gobert from France. Doncic can play that position for Slovenia. They have the opportunity to really try to guard and get on the fast break against these teams. However, not everyone's happy with the roster. Former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas went in on the roster saying, "Are you kidding me?" Now, fair enough. The Steph Currys of the world, the KDs of the world, Jason Tatum, LeBron, they're going to play in the Olympics if they want to play. The World Cup of basketball is seen as a secondary competition, so a lot of them aren't going to play in this competition. The World Cup of soccer is the biggest, the best competition out here. Here, this is considered secondary. So that's why usually the younger players here, or people who maybe aren't on your top tier list, get the opportunity here, show out, and that helps them make the Olympic roster. How is our competition overall? How have we done international records? We've won 16 Olympics. Look at all those golds. We've won the FIBA World Cup 5 times. That's tied most with Yugoslavia. And the FIBA America Cup 7. The FIBA America Cup definitely is more college people or people in the G League who are playing. That's not usually the pro people. But we have an overall good record. Obviously, USA has been the dominant force in basketball, but international has picked up, and we've seen that lately. How do we know? Well, let's dive into our recent history. 2021 Olympics would have been 2020, and COVID shut it down, so this got pushed back a year. USA won. France came in second. Australia came in third. This roster was full of many of the people that you would expect to be on the team. You have really high-level all-stars on this team. This includes KD, who is the star of the team. You got Jason Tatum, Dame Lillard, Booker, Draymond, and more. So this really was the team that you expect. Obviously, with COVID restrictions, some people did say no, but this team went out there. Besides for a fluke here and there, they really went out and dominated. However, in the 2019 World Cup, we did not. We came in 7th place. That's very, very low for the U.S., and you expect much more out of the team. So this was disappointing for the U.S. and they had to come back in the World Cup and come back in the Olympics and show out, which is what they did. This was your World Cup roster, led by Jason Tatum, a bit younger. His running mate Brown, who just got the highest contract in NBA history for average value. Now it's second after AD got his. But again, not the first tier names that you would expect here, and unfortunately we did not perform. Who did win was Spain, which is massive. They've been our rival at international level the past 10 years. We'll see how they do this year against the U.S. So now we got the history round. What does the schedule look like? Puerto Rico happened last night. We're going to dive into that game for you. They play Slovenia this weekend and then Spain. So Slovenia, who's on that team? Oh, no, this guy named Luka Doncic. So get a good tune-up against him. See how we have to guard him. See how the team plays. Spain, obviously, historically is really good. Greece has Giannis. Who? Giannis? Okay. That's going to be a tough matchup. And then you have Germany, which is always a powerhouse in terms of they got some big physical specimens who play for the German team. And then our first game against New Zealand is that first game in the real competition. So we have New Zealand first, and then we play Greece, which is a massive, massive game in the first round. And then you have Jordan. So this is tough. It's not going to be an easy group. Ideally, USA comes in first. Maybe you come in second if you have a bad game against Greece, and then it comes down to like point differential if you both beat Jordan and New Zealand. But I see either Greece going 3-0 or USA going 3-0. Ideally, it would be USA. So let's go back really quickly and show you how the bracket actually works out. Let me switch my screen for you. So now you can see how the bracket looks everywhere, all around. So there's groups A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So this is the first round. And then when you get to the second round, then you play the different groups. And this will take you then to more of the traditional bracket where it's like knockout. So you have to do group play twice, actually. So who's in our group? We already talked about. We're in Group C. We're going to play Group D, which is Egypt, Mexico, Montenegro, and Lithuania. So when we get to the second round, that's who we're going to play in our groups. So then you have another tournament style. Then when you get through, then you get to the qualification of the knockout where then you're going to play probably the big boys. So USA should definitely get to the qualification easily. No worries. Greece is the biggest hiccup in that first two rounds. And then, of course, you got the brackets moving forward. So looking good for us. We are definitely ranked number one in the world, and we're the favorites to be continuing to move forward. So let's go ahead and continue on. How the first tune-up game go? Started off a little slow. We did not play our best in the first half. We were only up by 7 on Puerto Rico. And then the game ended 117-74. Whew. Blew them out. 60-plus points in the second half. Team was up and down running the court. They were extremely successful in being able to pass the ball around. They were making their threes for the most part, playing really good defense. They were being physical. They had some good blocks. So let's dive into the box score for you and then show you some of the highlights. So we're looking at the box score here. What I love to see is the plus minus. You can see that on the plus minus, let's point out for you, the whole starters were in the plus 13, 15 and above. All the starters had double digits. In the bench, everyone performed very well. Your starting five was Mikal Bridges, Brandon Ingram, Jaren Jackson Jr., Anthony Edwards, and Jalen Brunson. This is not a bad starting five at all. Steve Kerr said this is not the official. He's going to tinker with it throughout the preseason. But if this is a starting five, this is an all-star team right here. You got Mikal Bridges, who's a very good defender, shooter, slasher. Brandon Ingram, tall, is able to shoot the ball anywhere, play solid defense. Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jack Jr. Get to do a great job in the paint for us, playing a battle on big men. Who I think is going to be the face of the NBA in, say, 5 to 10 years, if not sooner. Anthony Edwards is going to absolutely dominate. He dominated in Puerto Rico. He slashed. He dribbled. He shot the ball well. He looked very into the whole team. The game was a great teammate, so this will be good. And then you got Jalen Brunson as your point guard, being able to get into the paint, make floaters, pass the ball. Did a great job. So this was overall a very good performance. You can look at the team stats. We only made 7 threes, while they 6. We missed 5 free throws, but when you look overall at the rebounding, we out-rebound. We had more assists. We had more steals. Excuse me. We had 6 3-points and 15 free throws. I said that backwards. So let's dive into some highlights of the game for you. Let me switch this back. Austin Reeves played very well. It was cool. They showed two ants who drove in from Idaho on the broadcast. He made his first 3 when he came in the game. Passed the ball well. Was running up and down the court. Whew! What a cold photo right here. Halliburton dunk. You got Bridges on the finger roll layup. You got Ant Edwards on the 3-point shot. You got Ingram right here. What a great photo of this guy's face. He either got his foot stepped on. He took an elbow maybe in the chest. And you got Jackson Jr. going for the 2-hand slam. And it was a pretty good game overall. So again, their next game is going to be against Slovenia this weekend where they play Doncic. Let's just show you the schedule one more time. Let's take you to it so you can see it again. The game will be on FS1. The rest of the preseason games all going to be on FS1 or Fox. So you can stream it or you can get it on linear television. I'm really excited for this World Cup. I love basketball. I love football. As you can see the jerseys behind me. We have a good squad. It's going to be fun to watch. Obviously, this is a tune-up really for the Olympics next year. But overall, I'm excited about where we're going and what we're going to do as a collective team. So go ahead and comment your thoughts. Tell me what you thought about this video. What do you think about the game? What do you think about our roster? Everything in between. Really would love to make this a dialogue on Randy Silver TV. Thank you for watching today. This has been The Silver Lining. My name is Randy Silver. Until the next episode, please subscribe. We out. Go USA.